Nestlé provides you with tastier and healthier everyday choices to enhance your quality of life. Nestlé, good food, good life.
Food allergies are like a scary passenger that rides with us every time we have a meal. You look at someone else's delicious plate of food and you know that just one bite of the meal could potentially be fatal for either you or your child. So Nestlé brings you nutritional information to help you make tastier and healthier choices when your food just doesn't agree with you. Today we discuss the increasing incidence of food allergies with our expert panel, including the formidable Dr. Mike Levin, a specialist pediatrician in allergies, Dr. Riaad and the wonderful Dr. Darren Green.
Thank you.
Dr. Levin, let me start off with you. What's the actual difference between food intolerance and food allergy?
Okay, well, a food allergy implies that there is an adverse reaction to the food that has actually got a basis in the part of the immune system that's involved. So the intolerant reactions, there's no immune reaction involved, and the symptoms are usually a little bit more vague and a little bit less certain than that of a true food allergy, and they're also very, very unlikely to be life-threatening.
Now, what are the most common food allergens out there, Rato?
Well, as you can see here, soy.
Yeah, very common.
Very, very common. Eggs, milk and other dairy products, nuts, and we have flour here to demonstrate wheat and gluten.
Now, when you actually have an allergic response to food, what actually happens? What are some of the signs and symptoms?
Well, in the milder form, the symptoms may include, a rash all over the body or certain parts of the body, or a more severe skin reaction with hives.
Yes.
You also get, respiratory and cardiovascular reaction where, you palpitate. You may feel like you're going to collapse or even collapse as well, and you can't breathe, or that feeling that you swell up in the throat and then you're unable to breathe.
So how do food allergies actually affect your lifestyle? For example, if you're allergic to eggs, surely that has an impact on your nutrition.
Yeah, food allergies influence people's lives a lot.
Yeah.
People who have severe reactions are obviously very afraid of eating foods.
Yes.
Their lifestyle is limited. Kids can't go to parties. It's difficult to eat out because you have to be aware that the person making your meal might actually include something that you're allergic to.
Exactly.
So it has big effects on people's quality of life. And if people are allergic to more than one food, it sometimes is very difficult to make sure that there's a good, balanced diet. And occasionally we have people referred to our allergy clinic who have severe malnutrition because of food allergies that they've been diagnosed with.
Now, if people want to actually test whether they have food allergies or not, they do a skin prick test. Now, I'm actually going to do a skin prick test right now. I'm going to subject myself to this. Dr. Levin, you're going to assist me in this regard.
Sure.
Anything for the people out there? Are there any important things that I should know before I subject myself to this?
So the way it works is that there are little drops of allergen-containing solution here.
Yes.
I'm going to put little drops of this solution on your skin, and then I'm going to take one of these little lancets, and I'm going to simply make a little prick through that drop of solution on the skin, and if you are allergic to that, it'll swell up like a very, very small mosquito bite, and that will indicate the presence of those antibodies, which will allow me to make a call in terms of whether you're actually allergic to that food or not.
Okay. So, Dr. Levin, am I at risk of developing anaphylaxis or severe allergic response to this?
No, this test is very safe.
Okay.
What happens if there's a positive reaction is that you will just get a little bump over there like a mosquito bite, but that's the limit of what is going to happen with this procedure.
Now, Darren, if a person does develop anaphylaxis, which I'm not going to, how would you treat it?
Sure, well, it's life-threatening, and one of the main things we need to look at is open the airway, because your mucous membranes can swell, so the inner lining of your mouth, the back of the throat, and so forth, can absolutely trap you and you won't be able to breathe.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that your airway is open. Very, very essential that we start with adrenaline. So you need intramuscular adrenaline as soon as possible so that we can pick up that blood pressure that might have fallen, and then we look and treat the complications of the allergic reaction in the heart and obviously the lungs.
Okay, but that's not going to happen to me. Let's go, Dr. Levin. Let's start with the various.
So what I've got is a variety of different allergens here, and simply what I do is I put each of them on your arm in turn, and then Essentially, it's just putting a little drop of each reagent on them.
What's that one?
This one is called a negative control. This is the one that I make sure that the test is working properly.
Yes.
This one over here at the bottom, this is the positive control. This actually contains histamine, the chemical that's involved in the allergic reaction. So this is the one that is going to swell up and cause that reaction without there being any allergy to that involved. Okay. And then all of these other ones are different extracts of the different foods. We've got cow's milk, we've got soya, we've got fish, and we've got peanuts. And hopefully you're not allergic to any of those, because otherwise your arm is going to look like there are lots and lots of little mosquito bites over here. Once I've put the little drops of the reagent on your skin, I take one of my little lancets and basically just prick down very gently on the skin. And it's as simple as that. You do that with each lancet, with each allergen in turn. So one more, you're doing very well. You're actually one of the better of my patients, although most of my patients are actually about 3 or 4 years old, so that's not saying that much. So it's as simple as that. That wasn't sore.
I'm actually fighting back the tears.
That wasn't painful, was it?
No, it wasn't painful at all.
Good. So once
it's fine, I can't move my arm.
You can move your arm.
It's not painful.
As soon as I've blotted off those different allergens, they're now in the skin. If there's an immune reaction happening, then it's busy taking place.
Okay. So if my arm swells up to the size of Hulk Hogan,
if your arm swells up the size of Hulk Hogan, you're allergic to all of those foods and there's something seriously wrong with your immune system.
Okay. I'm starting to feel a little tingly over here. Any final thoughts about allergies?
I think we should be more conscientious about the preparation of food. When people use gloves in the kitchen, to look out for things like latex allergies as well.
Absolutely. I agree that food preparation is a critically important area. You can have cross-contamination of foods in restaurants and even in your own kitchen.
Yeah.
So if somebody is severely allergic, you really need to watch out about contamination while you're preparing food. And then the other really important issue is the labeling of foods.
Yeah.
Is that although there is legislation for the labeling of food for the major allergens in this country, it isn't very well enforced. So there could well be situations where foods are not appropriately labeled and people might be eating foods and exposing themselves to allergens without knowing about it.
Yeah. Larato?
Food allergies can be life-threatening, but you know what? Some people have this thing of it. It's almost like it's becoming a trend. My child's allergic to this.
Yes.
You know, if you have doubt, go see an allergy specialist and rather confirm, instead of depriving a child of necessary nutrition because perhaps they sneezed when you gave them something. It could have been a coincidental sneeze.
Yes. And it seems like I have reacted. Could you maybe talk to
this is fantastic. This is the positive control.
Case.
And what the positive control reaction shows is there's a little bit of a wheel over here, this slightly lighter area, surrounded by this red flare. So you can see that there's a raised bump, like an insect bite over here, and this is indicating that the test is actually working properly because this is the positive control. When you look at the other allergens, these ones are all negative. But this one over here, which is cow's milk, is slightly positive, which indicates that you might actually have a degree of sensitization to cow's milk. And if you've had symptoms of this in the past, then that confirms that you've got IgE-mediated food allergy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mike Levin, for stabbing me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Darren Green and Dr. Riaad.
Nestle. Good food, good life.